Are you ready to laugh? Are you ready to cry? Or did you just come for a turkey on rye? In the middle of a deli there in New York City, it's the In the Aisle podcast. Dan and Jack sit in the middle of a New York deli. Here's the In the Aisle podcast.
Sitting between Krasdale 100% lemon juice and Sweet and Low 0-calorie sweetener, it is another episode of In the Aisle, the podcast on the floor of a goddamn fucking deli. How are you? Oh, we didn't put up our signs today with the disclaimers.
I don't think we've been putting them up at all.
No, that's why children have been walking in the aisle and hearing about me talking about eating ass. So
they need to do. If they don't learn it here, wouldn't you rather them learn it from you?
Probably not, because I'm a freak. No one should learn anything from me because it's going to be the extremities. Is that the word?
No, those are your fingers.
It's different how, like, extreme or extremity, two different things.
Yeah, totally different
Yikes,
things.
I'm an idiot.
No, you're not an idiot.
How are you, Jack? Why do you look like you just got off horseback.
Off horseback? Because I did. That's how I got here.
Look like you just took off a metal helmet, you know, like one of them fucking jouster guys?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Lancers,
That's what I did.
That was my high school mascot.
You know, we're going to run out of things for you to say we're between.
Yeah, we're eventually going to have to put new items in the aisle.
Restock it with all vegan goods or something like that.
Sitting between gluten-free, but nothing in this aisle is, maybe.
Your dad's not here today. Oh, wait, fuck, I can't say that. We'll bleep that out.
The owner, who may or may not be my father, is not here.
Even if you listen to all the earlier episodes, you'd have your answer.
All they have to do is go back to episode 1 or 2 to find out where we actually are located.
Yeah.
We're very easy to kill.
I know.
Comedians are the easiest profession to kill, I think.
You know what's funny about this location is that I was talking to my dad. My dad used to work down here in whatever area of New York we may or may not be in.
Yeah.
And
there may be a statue of a bull in the vicinity.
And a statue of Liberty as well near us, a certain Liberty statue. My dad, I was like, you wouldn't know where it is, and I told him the address, and he was like, I know exactly where that is. I used to go to the gym right around the corner, and he showed me on the street, whatever street this is on, which I'm not going to say, his gym was right here, the Downtown Athletic Club. It's closed now.
Yeah, it's where they used to do the Heisman trophies.
I've probably been to that deli before.
They used to present the Heisman Trophy Award at the Downtown Athletic Club.
Yeah.
I've been up there to see where they used to do it. They got all the old pictures of the Heismans.
It's just apartments now, right?
Yeah, I think that might be the building where the infamous Zach and Cody happened. It's definitely
really?
in that area. Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah, there's a building around here, too, that's like an all green building. And the original penthouse owner was Leonardo Dicaprio.
He doesn't have it anymore, though, right?
I don't know. I haven't asked him.
Shoot him a text. I'll see what he's got going on.
Big Leo a text. Be like, hey, man, you still
What's
got
up,
the
Big
apartment?
Like Brad
Moving
Pitt
close
calls
to you in a few months. Want to hang?
Yeah.
Imagine just knowing Leonardo DiCaprio, how insane that would be.
I've actually, believe it or not, thought about that recently. Like not even kidding, within the past day, because it's like, you know, I think there are certain celebrities that would be really cool to know. I don't know what hanging out with him would be like. I think that he's such like a reserved guy, and I've heard my barber cut his hair one time, and they were like, he was just very observant. He just sat there and was like observing.
A thing you should be when someone's cutting your hair.
Yeah, right.
Observant. You don't want to just not be paying attention.
I'm just whipping my head around the whole time.
Yeah.
But like,
I would there are some people out here who probably just have text messages in their phone from Leonardo DiCaprio. That's an insane thought to me.
I was thinking about it. If I was friends with him, I'd call him Lee. That's what I would
call him. Lee?
I think so. Yeah.
My favorite name I ever saw about him was there was a newspaper article. I guess he had gained some weight, and they showed him on his yacht with a bunch of models, and they called him the Whale of Wall Street, which I thought was funny.
I was talking to my brother about him. It's like, he doesn't need to care. That's the thing. He doesn't need to care. Leonardo DiCaprio is funny because when he's not shooting a movie, he gets like, he'll just be like wearing basketball shorts and have like a bowl haircut and wear sunglasses.
Remember,
and then someone just
his
like
dad bod. They were like, oh, he's got the dad bod.
He doesn't give a shit.
Like, but he also has everything else.
Yeah. But then a movie comes out and some stylist is like, we're going to comb your hair and put a suit on you, and he looks like $1 million. He's like every like early 2000s movie where it was like the ugly girl, and now, oh wow, she takes her ponytail out and she's beautiful.
I like when they're trying to dress him up in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And don't put that hippie shit on me.
My hair. Yeah. But I don't know what he would be like to hang out with, because I don't know what his perception of... I think he's fairly well-grounded, or at least he's capable of making...
I feel like he'd be the opposite of hanging out with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp seems to be like a scary hang. He'd be like, knives are going to be involved. Knives and scarves.
Yeah.
That's a Jack...
That's your new album, right?
Knives and Scarves. That's the new album. I'm going to a movie tonight. It's called Knives Out.
Knives Out? Is Johnny Depp in it wearing a scarf?
I don't know. I'm not a big Johnny Depp fan because he kicked, I believe, Amber Heard, he was dating, and he kicked her.
I don't know anything about that.
That was his assault.
Right. I don't know anything about that. Wow.
Kicking someone's intense because that's real premeditated.
Have you ever been kicked before? It's a weird thing. When it happens, you're like, did someone really
I mean,
just
like
kick
in
me?
sparring, when I used to like fuck around with training and shit, I'd be like kick low or like kick midsection. But like kicked in the face, I don't really think so.
If you get kicked in the ribs, it's jarring because you're like, first of all, like, I'm not a fighter, but when someone did kick me in the ribs one time, and I was just like, did you really just, that was your first move? Like,
Yeah.
that's what you, that's,
Because that's way premeditated.
Yeah, I'm
You're
like,
not only thinking about the kick, you're thinking about, do I have the balance to throw the
Yeah,
kick? So it's a lot of trains of thought to kick someone.
instinct lends you to just throwing a punch. But as soon as someone throws a fucking kick at me, I'm like, I'm out of my league. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get murked right now.
It's like that old Kevin Hart joke that I always remember. He's like, if I'm going to fight someone and I see someone start stretching, I'm like, I probably made a mistake.
Yeah, right. Someone starts doing the Bruce Lee hands. You're like, oh,
That's like, I remember getting in a fight in the city one time. It was outside of a comedy club, and I saw like a group of frat bros start beating the shit out of their cab driver. So like I got in the middle of it and I threw him away, and then me and another comic started going at the guys, just like get him away, less trying to hurt them and just trying to not have a fight in the middle of the street. They were throwing stuff at the car, trying to break the windows. And so he got like most of it off to the side, and then one of the kids in the group came at me who had like cauliflower ear, and I was like, I'm not gonna entice this because he's gonna take me down and I'm gonna lose. Not only because I don't know what to do, I'm too ticklish.
You may be a better fighter, but as soon as he gets you on the ground, it's a done deal.
Oh, definitely a worse fighter.
Did you reverse it, and to like get them to stop beating the shit out of you? Did you start also beating up the cab driver?
I just ran.
And you're like, no, I'm on your team, guys.
Yeah, I'm actually just fighting everyone. I'm not a superhero. I just contribute to each side.
You'll jump into any fight if given the chance.
I'll fight everyone's fight on both sides for them. I'll lose for both sides. That's what I'm trying to offer.
Your alternate offense. Well, it was your birthday.
I know. Recently, I mean, this episode, I guess, will come out in 2 weeks. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
My birthday was January 19th. So
We're
in the middle.
Yeah.
Of that. You were on the birthday show. We
That
did
was
a birthday show in Brooklyn.
I literally I left that night and I was sitting on the train, and I was texting someone and they're like, "Did you have a good night?" And I was like, I had a great fucking night.
Yeah, that was
I had one of those nights that like you don't realize is like one you'll always remember until like you would like when I look back on my being
It's
like
a comedy memory.
Yeah, like when I look back on being a young comedian, just like hanging out with all those people, like that's gonna always resonate with me.
The crowd was full. A lot of friends, a lot of fans. Some podcast listeners were there.
That was the weirdest thing was someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, it's crazy to see you not on the podcast." I'm like, "What are you Oh, that's right, I have a podcast."
Yeah. Our customers, baby.
Yeah.
Our fan name. That'll never get, because we call the customers in the store customers and our fans customers.
It doesn't have any traction. But that was a fun show. It was a great lineup.
It was great. It was fun to see like a lot of high school friends came. Some friends I haven't seen in a long time. My buddy Frank came out, who's actually fighting his first professional mixed martial arts fight soon.
Hell yeah.
He's been a Muay Thai fighter for a while, but this is his first professional MMA fight, like signed contract, cage fighting championships, whatever. But the funny story about Frank is my first girlfriend in high school was his first ex-girlfriend. He was a little older than me, so we started dating when we were freshmen. She dated him the year before. He wanted to fight me every day. We hated each other. I mean, and I would get into it because I was bigger than him, so I was like, I could kick the shit out of this kid. No, and we never ended up fighting, but he went on to become a professional fighter. And when I, a few years ago, was hired to write an article called Fat to Fit the Fighter, I was trying to go from fat to a professional fight, one fight. He was my trainer.
Oh, great.
It's like we went from hating each other to like he trained me for a little while before I ended up stopping because I got in the car accidents at the time.
Well, it's like it's an interesting thing because if you have dated the same person and you break up with them, now you have something in common. You know what I mean? Like at the moment you met him, you were in love. You probably like in love with someone that he had a falling out with. But once you broke up with her, it's like, hey, we both don't like her. You know what I mean?
I don't even like admitting it because it is one of the things I feel worse about, even though I was, probably 16, 17 years old. But I've only cheated once on someone in my life, and it was in high school. I cheated on my girlfriend at the time with a girl I ended up actually dating for 2 years afterwards. So it wasn't like a fucking fling. It was something I actually cared about. This doesn't make it right. It was awful either way. But those two girls, to this day, are very close friends. Closer than I am to either of them. They hang out, still talk. I don't know how that happened.
Because they hate you.
Yeah, but one of them I cheated on the other one with, and that one still broke up with me. It's like that one should be fine with me because she had the best of both worlds.
Theoretically, yeah.
I guess I'm the linking.
There's no way to.
I just want to patch relationships that I've ruined by getting me out of it.
I can't tell you how many friendships I've started by just making fun of you. No, I'm kidding. I would never.
That would be amazing. I've known comics who have like, I won't call them out by name, but who have like met someone that isn't in comedy that like knows me from growing up, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know Dan LaMorte," like to try to get closer to the girl.
Yeah, does it work or no?
Oh, I doubt it. Who cares who knows me?
I care.
Thank you, Jack.
I do care. So 25.
25 years
We're both-
old.
I'm 25,
I do
but-
feel older. My hangover lasted a lot from that show. We drank a lot of White Claw.
I wonder if the weight loss has anything to do you
With
would
getting
wonder if
more
that
drunk?
if that would make you better at hangovers or worse.
I don't know. Maybe there's less of me to absorb into.
That's what I'm thinking. Or maybe your body can process. Because I
I
literally
also smoked a lot that night. So like, because people brought some stuff out, and like we were definitely having a party mentality the whole night. Because I was drinking the whole show. I hosted it, brought everyone up, and the funny thing was the club like ran out of White Claw pretty quickly. Because at least I guess that's what my fan base drinks, and they only had grapefruit left, which I hate. But I brought my own White Claws.
you did bring your own.
And people in the crowd brought White Claw for me. So each time I went up to host, I was bringing up a different flavor of White Claw. Only some people in the crowd noticed it. I brought up the entire
Gamut.
I brought up all 5 that they have, except not the 6th one, which is no flavor. White Claw has a no flavor one. It's original claw, just claw, no taste. It is brutal.
It was funny because like the club didn't sell all the flavors.
No.
So like when you're
waitress
walking
literally-
around with Dan was walking around with White Claw boysenberry, and they're like, that's not even on
The
the
waitress
street.
literally came up to me and was like, "What are you doing? We don't have mango. We've never had mango. It's its own pack." I'm like, "Someone brought it for me." Little did she know, 1, that was true, but 2, I had my own case in the green room.
Yeah, I
I go everywhere, dude. I went to a wedding. I brought my own claw. You've seen the picture on Instagram.
power move.
I literally brought to the ceremony alone. I brought a fucking 18 pack of mango claws to the ceremony.
Yeah, because you can't count on them to have, like, in fairness, as it sounds like a joke, it is a dietary restriction.
It is. So after the wedding that I brought the claw to, we had some extras, and there was an after party at Bennigan's, I think, like a chain restaurant, and it was Southern Jersey or
Hell
whatever
yeah.
the fuck we were. And I went into the after party, and I brought cans of White Claw into the Bennigan's.
Yeah.
The Bennigan's had a security guard. He came up to me and said, "Hey, what the hell?" He literally said, "What the hell are you doing? You can't bring in your own cans." And I looked at him, and I said, "I have celiac disease, sir. These are gluten-free." And he said, "I am so sorry." And he let me bring my own it's so illegal to bring your own liquor to a restaurant. He didn't bat a fucking eye. It's like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Oh, that's great. I am so sorry.
Yeah. And he was, I like thanked him a million times. I was blacked out, I'm sure.
Oh, that's great.
But he literally let me keep it in the Bennigan's.
It's so funny when you guys were all like, you know, when everyone was in the green room on your birthday at the end of the show, like
Oh my
rolling.
God, that was wild. Sometimes I'll invite people down to like, because I wasn't smoking downstairs. I was just going to roll some joints so we could
Right.
smoke after. And every person who stayed who wanted to smoke with me followed us into the green room. That'd be like, what, 20 people came downstairs?
Yeah, and I walked down and I just saw everyone rolling joints, and like I tried to make a joke, and I was just like pretending to be on the phone. I was like, "Mom, there's weed here. Can you pick me up?" Bombed. Absolutely bombed. Didn't get
Complete
anything.
bomb.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then I sprinted upstairs to not be seen. But it was funny because it was like a 180 in you so quickly. Like you were completely sober, and then you came up to me with the reddest eyes, and you were giggling, and I was like, I'm happy he's having a nice birthday.
I mean, I wouldn't say completely sober because I was drunk the most of the show.
I didn't notice.
Do you remember-
I can't tell when you're
Everyone in the crowd noticed because when I host, I usually sit on the stool, and the stool I had right kissing the wall of the stage because I didn't trust my balance. So every time I fell into the stool, I just smashed into the back of the wall and planted myself. So I was like, here I am.
Yeah, thank God for the wall.
I love, people do make fun of me still for sitting on the stool on stage.
Wow.
I love it. It is so comfortable.
It's the beauty of the art. You can do it
Relaxing.
however the fuck you want. You can do
Yeah.
it.
I mean, obviously everyone knows I sit on the stool upside down.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why
They're giving you an odd look.
yeah. I should have prefaced with that. I don't sit on like the stool as you imagine
Right.
it.
As you traditionally
My
perceive
stool
it.
sits on the stool.
You're like straddling it. They're like, what is he doing? Hey, trust his process.
Yeah, I actually get 2 stools and I lay on them on stage.
Like a sarcophagus. Just
What is that?
That's what they
like a
bury
mummy?
mummies in. Yeah.
That was what Tut was in?
Yeah.
I went to
That-
the King Tut thing one time.
Tut. You know, not many people get to call him Tut. Most people.
Dude, me and Tut go way back. Was he the kid who was like king at 8 years old?
Yeah, I think he died and then was perfectly preserved.
Perfectly preserved.
Yeah, they found that like whatever it
Pedophile's
was.
dream.
Yeah. Isn't it great that a pedophile anthropologist wasn't the one to find him?
Wait,
Just
really?
Like, no, I'm saying, wouldn't it have been
You
great
said
if
that was like true, like a pedophile found
he just
him.
like goes into the tomb and he's like, this child has been perfectly preserved. Looks around, he's like, okay, you know.
sarcophagus. Do people still get buried at sarcophaguses?
I don't know. Maybe we should, right?
Like
do you
it's
ever
expensive.
consider the option that like when I was growing up, I was like, I want to be cremated. I want there to be nothing left of me, and I want people to I want it to be. I don't want worms crawling through me.
Yeah.
But then I considered the option: what if the technology comes along where they can bring a corpse back to life?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it suck to have been cremated? But then I further thought about it, and I was like, if I'm gone, don't bring me back. That's it for me.
Fair. I want to be put in a wall.
What do you mean?
You ever seen that? Like some some cemeteries have like an indoor section.
Oh, a mausoleum.
But you and your
want to be
fancy
put in a wall.
words, mausoleum, sarcophagus.
I was
King
just
Tut.
like imagining a shitty apartment.
I want to,
where people hide their drugs in the wall.
Actually, I want to be put in standing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and you could open the doors and it's plexiglass in front of me.
And you're just like drooling. I like the idea of not plexiglass, just you standing, and then when someone opens the door, you just fall out, and then someone's got to pick you back up. What would you don't want to be cremated? You want to be mausoleumed?
I don't really give a shit. I'm more concerned about my funeral. I make a lot of funeral jokes. I posted one recently on Instagram that I stand by, that I want my entire funeral to have a K-pop theme to it. Because, like, if people are there, they'll be like, I had no idea he loved K-pop so much. I feel like I shouldn't be here right now. I didn't know this guy at all. I want them to feel like they didn't know me at my funeral.
I love that. I love the idea of just ending on one beautiful, perfect final bit.
Yeah. Oh, you have to go out with a bit, I think.
Yeah. My brother always said that he wants what was it? Tom Petty's song, Learning to Fly, to play at his funeral. And I was like, I'm only doing that if I can string you up like on like a lever pulley system and have you like pull you across.
Yeah, pulley
the procession.
Pulley funeral.
Yeah.
I think it's a common thing people want.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
I don't know if they do it all the time, but I've heard people talk about it.
I just think it'd be great to be like Weekend at Bernie'd and just like hung up by like a clothespin and then just like cascaded across the entire procession and then someone cuts a rope and you flop down into the
I
casket.
actually want to be stuffed, except with candy. I want to be pinataed. Pulling me into my funeral, and then everyone takes a bat, and gluten-free candy comes out of me.
You like deflate.
Yeah.
I want to be filled up with helium, and then someone pokes a little hole and I fly around the entire place.
We think about death a lot, I guess, but in fun ways.
It's fun.
It's like I remember one of my favorite early stand-up bits was Nick Swartzen had that great suicide joke where he's like, if I ever kill myself, I'm just going to go into a public space with a gun and scream, "Who the fuck farted?" and blow my brains out. Because he's like, truth be told, someone in that area probably did fart, and the rest of their life they're going to be like, was it that bad?
I think that's such a great idea would be to like write if you do kill yourself, write a note and then like leave a lot of like contradictory messages within the note. You know what I mean? Like if you circle the first letter of every word, it spells out one name.
Yeah.
But if you spell out the last word, then it spells out another name. Have everyone wondering.
And
Keep
then
them
there's like
guessing.
actually no answer.
No, because no one would make you do it to you.
Oh, my throat's tickling. My mother had the flu recently, so in my head I'm like, I hope I'm not getting the flu.
I was in class the other day, acting class. And
Back to community college, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And someone was just like, this kid was so pissed because he was sick and he was just like, I have a cold. It's like someone was fucking coughing on the subway, and I was just like, someone was coughing on the subway. You know what I mean? What is
the
it? Is it the
coronavirus.
coronavirus? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can't help but think about it. I was
The
like,
Budweiser flu.
That's exactly what it is.
Is the coronavirus here yet?
Yeah, it's here.
Oh, it's
I
here.
think it's in the aisle.
Is that what got Tut?
R.I.P. Tut.
All I know is like anytime something like this happens, my first thought is like, how many episodes of a documentary will it be?
What do you mean?
Coronavirus seems like it'll be an 8-episode Netflix documentary already. It's getting writ.
Well, you know what? It's wild because these things happen period. Every few years it'll be something. It'll be like the swine flu. So it's easy to be like they'll cure it, and it's like, but maybe not. What if this is the one that gets us? You know what I mean?
Please, traffic's been brutal lately.
It's just cut down the sheer numbers.
Be like, wow, there's no traffic in the city. What happened? Coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's so sad. Like in Australia, I was talking to a kid from Australia, and I was like, damn, like the fires are wild. He goes, well, where I'm from, there's no fires, but there's floods. And I was like, are they just getting sent plagues? Like, you know what I mean? Like
fire and flood.
Is there an ice age?
That's a Vance Joy song.
Yeah.
Real weird musician. I don't know why I knew that reference. I'm upset that I knew it.
I posted a thing about him recently.
Really? You're a Vance Joy fan? Is he the one who sings that Riptide song?
Yeah, he is. But I posted.
That's my impression of him.
Hey.
No words. Just
No, that was great. You really nailed it. That was
his spirit I felt coming through me. I got joyed.
It was a different song by him that I posted, and I was like, Vance Joy makes music for the moment in the movie after there's been a breakup. And you're seeing the montage of the couple separate, like realizing that they still want to be together. That's the
so
music
it's
he makes.
It's positive, but it's coming from a negative.
Yeah,
Making my way to the Riptide.
Yeah.
They get back together. They look
find-
at each other.
Well, there's a
Your
different
mess
song.
is mine.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
I have a lot of Vance Joy songs in this head. I It's
not
think I used to
bad.
date a girl who liked Vance Joy.
Did
That
you?
has to be what it was.
Did you cheat on her and then she went off to become friends with your other ex-girlfriend?
No, it wasn't that one.
You've had a lot of girlfriends, I feel like.
Not in a long time. It's
No.
been probably over 3 years since I've had something like steady until recently.
Yeah.
Not going to get too much into it, but Danny Boy is feeling good.
He is feeling good. He looks good.
You're
glowing.
Yeah, that goes without saying. I'm hot now, but imagine I have that much confidence now.
You
How
should have
amazing
that.
that would be.
You should do that.
Even the camera will realize when I said that I looked to the left, be like, he doesn't mean it. Please know that I don't mean it. Yeah, and it.
You met someone.
Met someone the night of my birthday show.
What can you divulge about them?
I could divulge what I think the fans will understand how serious I am about this, because the first date, Jack, it's not mini golf.
Yeah, that's
never even a
huge.
thought in my head to take her to mini golf.
I didn't even think to ask you that, but you messaged me and you were like, we went on our first date, and I was like, how was it? And you're like, good. We didn't mini golf, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Ironically, that means that
We've
you're
been on
interested.
quite a few dates since then, and none of them have been mini golf. Because I have no interest in doing the plain old shit with this girl.
Yeah.
It feels really fun.
Well, it's also like when you go mini golfing, it's more so because you're just using you're not there for the date. You're just like, good, I've got a competitor now. You know what I mean? I'm not playing in a
it's a built-in time frame to when the date ends.
Yeah, isn't that a weird thing? Like,
It's like 18 holes and it's over. If the date's not going well, you could dismount right after the 18th hole. Hell,
Yeah.
you could play half a game if you want and be like, ooh, this isn't going well.
It's true, because it's like I'm used to being in relationships where it's like, the date doesn't end because it's like we're just gonna keep hanging out. You're my girlfriend. We'll keep hanging out throughout the night or whatever. But now I'm like, it's not that I don't like the people, but I want to be alone a lot of the time. So like I'll be with someone for a few hours and I'll be like, all right, I got to go do a thing. You know what I mean?
The same way. I very much appreciate being alone until this. I mean, all of our dates have gone into like astronomically long compared to other dates that I've had.
Well, it feels effortless when
like,
it's going well.
Not only effortless, but I'm just like, I don't really want to be alone right now because I'm enjoying this more than solitude.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, haven't been producing as much comedy. Turns out happiness and comedy don't coincide together.
You will find the balance. I mean, you're just
eventually. I mean, that's people always they're like, you'll find the balance. I'm like, well, I guess part of finding it is it takes a while. That's half the balancing act.
I think part of the reason why it's going well is you found out you did so much like self-discovery, and you found out a lot of like you learned to be happy on your own. That was the best advice I've ever been given. Was my older brother said that to me. He was like, like the whole idea of like someone completing you is kind of dangerous. You should be totally fine on your own, and then someone should be a nice bonus to an otherwise great life.
Because a lot of the issues that I think I had in past relationships stemmed from where I was personally, not only mentally but physically. If you're not into yourself and how you're looking when you look in the mirror, I mean, even if the other person is, it's hard for you to convince yourself that they are.
Yeah.
Like, even if someone does find you attractive, if you don't find yourself attractive, it's hard to believe that person actually means it.
Yeah, you
But
don't
for
feel
the first time in a while, I'm like, I believe what she's saying.
Yeah, you don't feel good enough. That's so true. That's such a good point. It's like, but it's nice. I mean, when I met you, I only knew you as the man who you were. You know what I mean?
So it's like smoking Marlboro Light,
and like
drinking,
and
flannel wearing,
and you're a professional comedian, so you can deflect better than anyone. So I never in a million years would have guessed that you were uncomfortable in your own skin, because you just seem very confident.
Oh, incredibly uncomfortable.
Of course,
I hated people.
Right? It's like anything else, but when you're a comedian and you've built your life around that, you can hide it better than anyone.
Yeah, I mean.
But I
guess it did on the outside. But like when I go back and watch old tape of mine and old sets from when I was like at my unhealthiest, I'm like, I could see such a difference in me on stage now and me on stage then, because like I was having to fake so much.
Yeah.
Because not only was I having to fake on stage because I wasn't really fully comfortable up there yet, but when you're fake, I was faking who I was in life, and then to take that on stage, you have two layers of not yourself up there.
Yeah.
Now that I'm comfortable on stage and comfortable in life, it's like, I look at my sets, I'm like, I see who I am in life being shown on stage now.
Yeah, it's definitely, now that you mention it and I'm thinking back, it's much more effortless. And the bits alone are just like more true to who you are. I remember the period of time where you literally were just going up and not even really doing jokes, just talking about Ted Kaczynski. There were jokes and it was funny, but a lot of it was just like, I watched this documentary and you're going to hear about it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in that period of my career. I owned 2 Unabomber t-shirts and 1 David Koresh t-shirt. David Koresh... One, I've recently got rid of that shirt. I mean, he was probably like he was a bad guy, bad cult leader who like did bad things.
He's come up on this podcast, I'd say, 1 every 3 episodes. I have no idea anything about the Branch Davidians, David Koresh, or anything about them.
I haven't done any research into it since my obsession with the Unabomber stuff. I watched a documentary and I thought it was kind of I thought it was fascinating that everyone thought he was like this really smart guy. That was like the allure to him. He was like, oh, sure, he's this terrorist, But look at his writing, look at his manifesto, look how brilliant he is. I'm like, but how brilliant is he? I mean, he killed like 3 people over the course of 17 years.
Yeah. Well, you have to wonder what his real goal was. Was he actually trying to kill people? Who knows? I mean, the guy was...
The bit that from that period that I actually liked, which I learned on the show, was that the original sketch of the Unabomber, like the famous one with the glasses and the hat, wasn't even of the Unabomber.
No, it was... What was the story again? It was something wild.
The woman who saw Ted Kaczynski, like the only one, they sent the sketch artist, and he did a job, whatever, blah, blah, blah. They sent the second sketch artist to get the real sketch. The way the mind works, she was kind of in shock of what happened, so she just remembered the first sketch artist. So the sketch of the Unabomber is really just a mugshot of the first sketch artist.
Yes.
Because that's what she remembered.
Yes.
There's a guy out there who's lived his whole life as the drawing of the Unabomber.
It's pretty nondescript, though. I mean, the guy's wearing a hood and glasses.
I know, that's just such a fun
But
thought to me.
isn't that funny? Then that would mean that the sketch artist was wearing his hood and glasses.
That's what I would say on stage. I was like, so was the sketch artist wearing his hood and glasses?
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't the best bit of all time. I'm happy
funny.
I stopped doing it.
No, you needed that was important though for your growth, I imagine.
It's
Or maybe
easy to
not,
tell
who
why I
knows.
was doing those jokes because like you pick up my Unabomber shirts and it's like XXL and you're like, oh, he was working through a lot.
Yeah, my man was going through
Yeah,
something.
I was going through something. There was a period of time, remember, I had like this favorite Sriracha shirt.
Yeah.
And I got so fat that it fucked up the lettering. And I think my parents, to make me feel better, threw it out without me knowing and went out and bought a new one. I was like, what? That's the most sad version of the goldfish dying, replacing the fish. They're doing
so
it for
bad.
fabrics.
Oh, well, there is a happy ending to all this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like
You're
the
almost under 200 pounds.
205 this one, and also I'm just like the happiest I think I've ever been in
Dude,
like
that's like-
adult life.
Well, I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's almost like the universe gives you things sometimes when you're ready for it. Because it's
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure I'm gonna get kicked in the dick real soon. I mean,
Yeah,
I am high as a
maybe.
mother. Like, not even on weed right now. I mean, I'm just high on life at the moment.
something may happen, but you'll be more equipped to handle it. You know what I mean? Like you're in the headspace to handle
Fair.
something.
Or I'll
but
just get really fat again when something bad happens. Then I'll lose the weight and just redo the process.
yeah, it's true. It's like the lucky thing for you is that getting skinny makes you feel good, so you could always gain the weight and lose it again.
I don't know how people.
I think that's what a doctor would recommend.
I think so. I don't know how people who like, if you ever want to make money, just get really fat,
Right.
lose the weight, motivational speak, eat your way into a career.
There was an actor, I forget his name. He used to be in everything. He lost like 200 pounds. I was reading about it yesterday. It's irrelevant. Anyway, the point is,
I've been telling people I want a motivational speak.
You should.
I would never take it serious, but I feel like there's money to be made.
run out with
Kids,
K-pop.
do you know what I did? I ate a lot of food. That's the start of my speech. I haven't fine-tuned it yet.
No, that's pretty good. I think that you really you really tapped into something there.
Children. I don't know
Like,
why
why
I'm
does he
yelling.
sound like Mr. T?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like,
Is there a motivational speaking open mic?
I think any open mic can be whatever you make it. If it's your 5 minutes,
How
do
funny
with
would that
it.
be, running your motivational set at a comedy open mic where everyone is really upset and like kind of dark and gloomy and you're like, so life's been great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the people who show up to music mics to do comedy under the theory
Fair.
of like, if I can do well here, I'll do anywhere. But none of those musicians want to hear. I've never done that.
Me neither, so I can't really speak.
I have seen slam poets come into a comedy open mic, but we didn't realize they weren't comedians. So
Yeah.
like everything they said was really funny, and then we were like, oh, they're being serious. The thing was, I was sitting next to, I forget who I was sitting next to, but this guy goes up on stage and he's like talking about the hardships in the world. And then he must have been a comedian too, because I'll never forget. He was just like, children dying, people lying, motherfuckers be farting out their dicks left and right. I was like, excuse me? Me and the guy next to me were like, did he really just say that?
Famous Hemingway quote.
Yeah, I think that was. No, I think it was.
I followed a slam poet one time at a NACA conference. The college, like you have to go do these showcases at a college and other colleges book you. And the host was a slam poet. And she did like this really intense piece about sexual assault. And then she's like, all right, now coming to the stage, Dan LaMorte.
Yeah, and you go.
And I open with a small dick joke. And I'm like,
Yeah. What do you guys think of Ted Kaczynski? Put up your hood. You're like, look at me.
I remember I got so into the Unabomber at a point that a follower of mine on Twitter made a tour poster for me. And it was just me as the Unabomber sketch.
I mean, dude, your show is still called The Manifest Show.
Yeah, but if you've noticed, the logo has changed a lot. It went from the dark, scary logo. Now it's
like
like
hippie.
pink and groovy.
Yeah, it looks like the cover of a Hendrix album.
I know. I'm really trying to just be like, guys, I'm peaceful, please.
Well, slowly you'll change the name to like the Peaceful Show or something. I don't know. That was fucking horrible.
Peaceful Show. Not even the Peace Show.
No, the Peaceful Show.
Peace of my mind. And it's
I love that.
P-E-A-C-E
I love
of
that.
my mind. Wow, we did it. We worked through it. We went from the Peaceful Show to Peace of Mind. It's a working title.
And then the rule is that any comedian can, or anyone in the crowd is free to stand up at any point during a set and go, "Hey man, you're harshing my mellow." And that's the rule.
Harshing my melody.
Everyone's given a button that you can press that makes the comedian aware of whether or not the audience's mellow has been harshed.
I saw a comic recently promoting a show where he encourages the audience to tell the comics if they don't like him or her.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's like if you're bombing, they're going to stand up, they're going to shake your keys at you, they're going to let you know you're doing bad.
Oh,
I've had
why?
a key shake before. A key shake's intense.
What is that about?
That's like an old school way to get someone off stage. You shake the ring of keys at them. That happened to me in Alabama. The owner of the venue walked in front of me and just shook the keys in my face.
Well, friend of the show, Matthew Broussard, recently was like, before he went on, it was in a small room.
Friend of the first in the aisle.
Yeah, it's
hasn't
true.
been on the
Not
second in the
not
aisle.
in the new
yet.
iteration. That's a good point. He was just like, "Yell at me if you want when I'm on stage," and I'm like, "Dude, you're my friend. I'm not gonna do that to you."
When we were on, when I was on the Infect Me Once tour, Michael Terry, who goes on the road with me a lot, it was the end of the tour. We were at a gig in Tallahassee, Florida,
Right.
at a venue called Bird's Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack.
Hell yeah.
It's literally like, it's got a tiny stage. It's a shack of a place in Tallahassee. My first time I ever went there, we walked in and they said, "Sorry, we're all out of oysters," which felt like such a funny joke to be like, Bird's Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack, all out of oysters.
Yeah, right.
I went on stage and I was like, that's like if TGI Fridays was all out of Fridays. And it bombed. And I was like, that's really funny for the moment, but thanks, guys.
Yeah. Okay,
And
you guys wouldn't know
so
comedy.
so this was the second time we went back. And that was a small, maybe not a small turnout. It wasn't the biggest turnout. And we're sitting there and Michael whispers to me, he's like, "Dude, I'm up opening for you. Boo me at a point." He said, "Pick whenever you want during my set and just boo me.
Yeah.
See what happens." So he's doing okay. I mean, it's hard to build momentum in this place, and it gets to a point where one of his jokes is like a little like serious, and it doesn't hit, and I just went boo, and he couldn't recover from it. It was too good of a boo that it threw off the room completely. Like, even though it was fake.
What was his theory? What was he just wanted to see?
He just wanted to see what would happen, and it really did throw the entire set off.
What he didn't expect was other people in the crowd to be like, "Yeah, fuck this guy."
I think no one else in the crowd really knew where the boo came from, so they weren't like, "Oh, the comic who's going up after him just booed him as a joke." They were like, "He just really got booed."
That might have been worse though, because if they see that you're booing your opener, like, what are they
Fair.
going to think about?
I went
about
up
you?
there and afterwards, and I was like, "So if you guys didn't know, I was the one who booed Michael. We were doing it as a joke. We didn't intend it to get as awkward as it actually did in here."
What they say?
That probably bombed. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Bird's Aphrodisiac Oyster Shack. I
Go
mean,
check 'em
honestly, it's
out.
one of those venues that I think for the sake of just, if I'm in the area, I'll always go to. I love doing shows in places where a show probably shouldn't be happening.
That's what stand-up comedy is. I feel like it's wild. I'll be out in random like side streets in the East Village at a bar with like my friends, and I'll be like, "I think I've done comedy here before."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what's the place on Delancey? Gray Lady. It's a gigantic. It's got
Gray
a gigantic.
Lady.
It says Oyster
Yeah,
Shack.
really, when you're driving around the city, it's so easy to be like, "Oh, there used to be a show there."
Yeah, exactly. And so I was there with
That
my
used
friends.
to be a barber, and there used to be a show there. Like,
Also an Oyster Shack, and I'm just like, I said to my friends, I was like, "Believe it or not, I've done comedy here before." They're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, my friend used to run a show here."
wow, and that was an Oyster Shack. Maybe Oyster Shack's the new comedy go-to.
Well, they are aphrodisiacs.
I'm trying to think of the weirdest place I've ever done a show. There's just too many.
I mean, charity things, right? Those are always weird.
Oh,
I guess
God,
it's
yeah,
not.
I got a cancer gig coming up.
Yeah.
I got to do a gig for a kid who just lost his leg to cancer. They're
fucking
trying to raise
heartbreaking.
money for his new leg. I'm not doing any bits about the cancer, but it's going to be a tough gig.
I mean, what are you going to talk about?
Just putting your best foot forward.
I pray to God his family never hears this.
That probably has to get edited out. No, honestly, the kid's like a fucking badass. You ever just see a kid like have something bad happen to him, and the way they react? I'm looking at him like, I, in no part of my life, would have reacted to this situation the way this child did.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he's going around already speaking to other kids going to hospitals. I'm like, I wouldn't do that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's
Wild.
wild. You see that, and then it just puts into perspective everything. You're just like, I was freaking out that they forgot to put extra cheese on my taco, and then this kid can handle losing his leg. You know what I mean?
You got cheese on a taco.
I don't get tacos at all. It's just the first thing I can think
okay.
of.
Tacos are a good go-to.
I don't need any gluten
I'm
or
thinking
cheese.
of going plant-based, but I don't want to remove all that fun from my life.
Dude,
The problem is there's these documentaries, And you watch them, and you're like, I need to do it now. You showed me the chicken getting the blood milked out of its head. I'm in. You did it. But then you see a taco, and you're like, that, it's
you ever see the one where, like, how they carve the cancer out of steak, or there's a thing called steak glue. You've seen it before, and you don't even realize it.
Steak glue?
My brother's friend is a chef, and he was like, yeah, it's like a thing that they use to I think that's what it's called, where like the meat will, like there's tears in it, and they glue it back together. It's fully edible. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But you've seen it and probably never realized. You probably just thought it was fat.
I thought it was semen.
Yeah, it was. That's
steak semen.
Yeah,
steak goo. I thought that's what it was called.
The steak guru. The plant-based thing appeals to me so much, but I'm like, then what will I have?
Yeah, it's
what will
plant-based.
It is. Believe it or not. Do you ever think about that? Are you that gluten-free that you have to ask them if they've eaten gluten before you eat their butt?
I think my freakiness supersedes my celiac disease. I would rather, like, I'm not going to look for the gluten-free logo on an asshole before I go to town.
Wouldn't that be great? Tattooed.
You should
get that. You should get that tattooed.
Have I not told you that?
No.
Like, I have the picture saved on my phone. I'm trying to get an artist to draw it up, like the certified gluten-free logo. I want to get it, the GF on my arm, and I want to get it made into like hippie colors, though. It's like a hippie gluten-free tattoo.
But I want you to do it on your butthole.
On my butthole.
Yeah.
Gluten-free.
Because it is.
What if I just got it all over me? My entire body just covered in the word gluten-free.
You can do that, but I would want to...
I was thinking right here.
I want to reiterate, butthole is key.
It's going to need some maintenance first. There's going to be a lot of... I feel like the ink's going to get on hair before it does skin.
It's also like, yep, that logo was pink when it started.
Yeah, it's not going to be a fully finished tattoo because some of it's going to be on butthole hair, and it's going to be... I feel like I'm about 2 years away from a butthole tattoo if we're really going to take it serious. There's some...
so fucking gross.
There's some maintenance that needs to be done.
2 years of maintenance.
2 years. I'm just giving myself the time. I'm a procrastinator.
Oh, God, that is so gross. You excited for the Super Bowl?
Speaking of boxes, Super Bowl boxes, it's a...
What?
You don't know Super Bowl boxes?
No.
You've never done that?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Jesus, thank God. Because I had no idea how to explain what a Super Bowl box is. You give someone money, they put your name on a chart, maybe you win money if the numbers happen. That's the best way I could do it.
Yeah.
Are you going out for it?
No way. I don't think so. Someone almost invited me to a party, and
how do you almost get invited to a party?
Well, they were like considered. They were like, yeah, if people will come, I'll do it. And I was like, the people pleaser in me was like, I'll be there. And then I was like, no, this is my one rule. I like to watch the Super Bowl at home. Like, I'd like to be alone. The less people, the better.
I'd agree, less people, but that's like life as a whole. Less people, the better. I'd say
it's just like, so many times. It's like you go to someone's place and it's like, I don't drink anymore, so I don't need to be around that.
It's not your couch.
I can't eat wings.
Mm-hmm.
I can't eat anything. It's dairy and fucking gluten and anything. I don't want to become the guy who's like, do you have celery? Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to shamefully eat my gluten-free meal in my home alone where no one can see me.
Yes.
And then I'm going to watch the game on my couch where I can lounge. Because what am I getting? I don't want to sit in a folding chair and be like, this is great.
Yeah, I hate that. And then like people talk and it's like, I want to hear this commercial. It looks like it might have some bits in it.
Yeah, some juicy, yummy, tasty little snacky bits.
My neighbor has a Super Bowl party, and he's a buddy of mine. I've known him for years. He's my barber. And that's tough when your neighbor invites you to a party.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to watch me say no, and they could see into my house. They're just going to see me sitting there watching it alone. They're going to be like, oh, not only did he say no, he can't come, he just stayed at home.
And also he's your barber, so like he might sabotage you. You imagine he's just accidentally shaves it, and he's just like, whoops.
Have you ever gotten a bad haircut before?
Of course, everyone
like
has
a
been.
really bad one?
Yeah.
Mo barber Sletvana.
I got a memory that's been repressed for so long. I was like a little kid, and a barber gave me a bad haircut. And he just like followed me out to the waiting room where my mom was. I wondered
why he started with my balls. I was like, this is going to be a bad haircut.
Yeah, dude, start with the hair, work your way down. But I walked outside to my mom and I just started crying. And I was like, he gave me a bowl haircut. And he was standing right behind me. And I was just like, in hindsight, I'm like, I was that poor man.
Yeah. I thought it was weird, like when my first barber had me put my legs in stirrups. I was like, what is this needed for?
Can I keep my pants on, sir? He's like, no, I'm giving you the King Tut treatment.
When I was younger, my barber was in Englishtown, New Jersey, a place called New York City Barbers, even though it was in Englishtown, New Jersey.
Of course.
And a Russian woman named Sletvana cut my hair. And one time she did such a bad job with it that before I could even have the tears in my eye, like they handed the money back to my parents. She's like, you don't like?
we know what we've done. Yeah.
I mean, I cried
love the
so
idea
much.
of like a woman who probably came from hardship in Russia, like doing a horrible haircut, but accepting no responsibility because she's just like, your life wasn't as hard as mine. You know what I mean? She came here from Russia, and you're like, this is a.
She cut my hair for a while, yo. A lot of bowl cuts.
Why'd you keep going back?
I don't know. Well, I found another place eventually where the guy did really sweet mohawks, because this is when I was playing ball in high school. I used to want to get the. Remember the show the movie Major League? Charlie Sheen has that crazy zigzag mohawk.
Yeah.
So I found a guy who would do that. So he does it twice, and it's sweet.
Yeah.
Summer months come by. Dude goes out jet skiing. I don't know why I giggled before what I'm about to say, but he did get decapitated on the jet ski. You laughed too.
It's so shocking.
It is shocking.
That is so. The reason I
what
laughed.
a way for a barber to go, though. At least he kept his head. Well, not really.
No, he didn't.
That's kept his hair, I meant to say.
Oh, okay. The reason I laughed is because some things are like so. I couldn't have in my weirdest fantasy imagined that was what was coming next. I thought you were going to be like, he was never the same. He got in an accident. He lost control. He lost motor function. He lost his fucking head.
He was with Sean Kingston on a. Remember that? You remember that rapper? He drove a jet ski into a bridge.
Did he?
You're way too beautiful, girl. That guy, he rode a jet ski.
He crashed into a bridge.
Yeah, but no, the sad thing about this barber was they wanted to keep the place open, so to show the hairstyles, they took his decapitated head. And the style of the day was actually on his corpse's head.
Do you want the Craig? What is
But they
Craig?
actually closed down shortly after that, as you'd imagine. It's hard to keep going.
Can't bounce back from that. How did he get decapitated?
I'm going to guess what happened was he rode the jet ski, I think, into a bridge or something, and like a low bridge and his clean off or something.
Yeah. I saw someone I was driving the other day. Someone got into an accident I have never seen before where, like the easy pass lanes.
Yeah.
He drove up the middle and had to have a crane come in to take him down. Like it was like a truck with a crane feature.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I've seen someone do that
you were
before.
not going to bounce back and have a normal day after this.
No, like they drove right into the middle divider.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw someone do that, but they died.
There's no way you weren't texting either.
I passed by a woman who did that, but she died.
How'd she die?
Because she drove it straight into the middle and the thing like split her. It was in New Jersey.
Oh.
I don't know if it split her. I just assumed because she died.
How do you know she died?
Because I read the article.
This has been such a morbid episode.
Really? I thought we really had him going. We were talking about butthole hair.
No, that was huge. In hindsight,
I guess it has been death. It has been death all around. We started with
no,
Tut.
but you're right. I forgot about the butthole.
We started with an 8-year-old dead Tut.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to that Tut exhibit? Those are the two exhibits I've been. The Tut exhibit and the Bodies exhibit.
I think I did the Tut exhibit when I was a kid.
And I've been to the Museum of Sex before, which is a big thing in New York.
I went to the gift shop there when I was a kid, and all these. Not a kid. I was like a
Museum
teenager.
of Sex.
Just the gift shop, because I think that's open like later.
So
and I went
sex
with
shop.
and I went with a bunch of friends, and like these girls we were with were all buying flavored condoms, and we were like, and then someone just they were like, "This is so funny," and they bought these flavored condoms, and then one of the guys I was with was like, "Why are you buying flavored condoms? Like, how are you gonna taste it? Like, your boyfriend, are you just going to put a condom on your boyfriend before you blow him? Like, you've never done that before." And then they were all so disappointed afterwards because they bought them and they're like, "Why do we have these?"
Yeah, that is a flavored condom's interesting.
It's nonsensical.
Maybe vaginas can taste. We wouldn't know.
That's a good point. It's a really good point.
I don't know why I'm going to bring this up, but I found it really funny because Harvey Weinstein's on trial right now, and one of his accusers said that he doesn't have testicles, and she actually believes he has like what looks like a vagina down there, which I thought was funny because she testified to that in court, like under oath. She said he has no testicles, and there's like a slit down there from like a removal or something. Yeah. I don't know what you're going to do with this information, but imagine that, like, that's on a record. Someone in a court had to type, he has no testicles.
You got to imagine the judge is like doing everything in their power, not be like, "Can you prove this right now? Like, can you show us?" I was
babysitting my grandfather recently because my grandmother's in the hospital, and he's at the age and health where he can't be alone for a day. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting there, and it's been like the majority of the day, and my grandma was in the hospital for 3 days. They've been married for over, probably 60 years now, maybe longer. And he goes, when she's not here, it's like I'm missing my left testicle, man. And he meant to say it endearing, and then he stopped, and he goes, "Oh, wait. I don't have a left testicle." He goes, "They took it years ago," which is true. He doesn't have one testicle. And I found this out. It's my favorite story ever. It was never really able to work on stage. He called me over to, I had to help him hang his TV. And I guess he was going to a doctor the next week, and the doctor had him type up his medical ailments on a Google Doc or a Word doc and print it out and bring it to him. He left it near where all the supplies were. So I just find this list, and it's like high blood pressure, triple bypass surgery, missing left testicle, and I was like, oh. So I went up to him. I was like, what is this? He's like, well, you had to find out some way.
Yeah, I love missing. Like he just woke up and he was like, oh, son of a bitch, where is it? You know?
Yeah.
But when you get to a certain age, like I've noticed this, that same, like something very similar happened to me. Not to me, but someone I know.
Oh, when you got your nut caught in a tilt-a-whirl, right?
Yeah, on a jet ski. And
with Sean Kingston.
yeah. I was riding rear, and he took a quick turn, and I just kind of fell off.
Sean Kingston's still alive. If not,
he is still alive.
Okay,
He
good.
performed at my college not that long ago.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think.
How did he
No.
look?
I think they banned him. He did something taboo, and they didn't end up having him. But anyway, what I was gonna say was, it was my dad. It was like a family friend of ours was going through some medical thing, and I was like, oh man, he's had a tough medical history. And my dad's like, yeah, he has. And I'm like, I mean, he lost his testicle, right? And my dad's like, what? And I was like, he lost his testicle. And both my mom and dad were like, I don't think that's true. And I was like, I know for a fact it is. I wouldn't have made that up. You know what I mean? I was like, that's not something that for fun I just decided to.
Yeah, you wouldn't make that up.
Right.
You wouldn't just
So they just keep going. They're like,
subtract
that's
it
not
up.
true. I'm like, it was like 3 years ago. They had to remove a testicle to check it for cancer. It wasn't cancerous, but it doesn't, he lost
They can't put it back after they check it, huh?
So I guess not. Or maybe it's just like, no harm, no foul.
String it
I don't
up.
need Yeah. Bring it home, put it in a jar. And after about 10 minutes of convincing, my dad was like, you know what, that does sound familiar. And I'm just like, you get to a certain age where all your friends are like losing shit and getting sick. You just don't like that was like nothing to them.
And it's a tough question to ask. You can't really confirm it. You can be like, hey, buddy boy.
Yeah.
Missing a nut.
You still operating at 50%, my man.
Oh, I wonder what that's like. Does it subtract
I don't think
your sex drive? You're
I think
holding less
when you're I
testosterone.
imagine when you're older, your testosterone count is probably already low. But you only need one, I think.
There have been times where I've sat on my nuts and I'm like, I wish both of these were not here.
Yeah.
I would love a life where there was less dangle.
Have you ever thought about like maybe like once you
Ball
have
reduction?
kids, ball reduction, drain the fluid?
Yeah, I'm actually Botoxing my sack.
One of my best buddies had when he was a kid had a herniated testicle, but he didn't know. And you know the thing about how like your one ball is bigger than the other. You know, like generally
glass half full.
Yeah, well, you know how like generally like one hangs lower and one's
Yeah.
bigger.
My
So
right side, strong side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he heard that and was just like, okay, this is perfectly normal. But one was like the size of a grapefruit.
Oh, really?
And he showed, and like his friend saw it and was like, Jesus, what is that? And he was like, what? It's bigger than the other one. They're like, yeah, it's not supposed to be swollen to that size.
Oh, wow. And he just lived a life like that?
And then they did whatever they do to drain it. But if you didn't know any different, what would it matter?
Oh, this really has been a grotesque episode.
It has.
I
Folks, if
wanted
you've
to talk
made it
about
this
like
far,
cheating in baseball, and we ended up just talking so much about
I'm
butts
happy
and
though. I'm
balls.
happy. This was good. This was like a release.
Yeah, I was really excited with the cheating in baseball because I like people who cheat, not in relationships, but like in sports. Get ahead. I was a cheating baseball player.
You know
so-
what? I think the rule should be like I don't get all the hatred. It's always weird to me when the steroid thing comes out and people are so mad about it. I'm like, you're just mad at the guy they caught. If everyone's doing it, which a lot of them are, not all of them, but a lot. I think in sports, a lot of guys are doing it. And then we find out about one guy at the top who's doing it, and then you hate him. But it's like, I mean, the playing field is sort of level if everyone's doing it.
Yeah, and honestly, steroids are a lot of pitchers have come out and been like, I would have rather the batters be taking steroids than knowing what I was throwing, which is true. If a batter knows what you're throwing, it really severely helps the batter. It fucks up a lot of your game.
Right.
But like when I played ball into college, I scuffed the ball. I was like an old school pitcher. I believed in scuffing the baseball, which means like you could cut the laces. My big thing was pine tar. I would put pine tar and petroleum jelly on the baseball. And the reason I got away with it was very simple because I graduated high school in 2013, same as you, I believe, in a time where things were sensitive with adults going near kids' crotches. So I kept my pine tar on the inside of my baseball belt.
Brilliant.
Not a single umpire had the nerve to be like, let me see your belt, sonny boy.
Yeah. Just would have been such a
I would
great
just
loss.
I kept pine tar on the belt, and then I kept petroleum jelly behind my leg.
inside your butthole.
Yeah. They'd be like, what is he doing out there?
Is he, sir? Are you okay? You're like, what? I got an itch. Hold on.
And then I used to do, because like when you play ball in the Northeast, a lot of your first games in the season are freezing weather. It's like 30, 40 degrees out because you start in sometimes early March where it's still cold.
Yeah.
So you can't feel your fingers. So you just got to put some pine tar on that bad boy.
Yeah, I think, and it's kind of like, I mean, if everyone was, but the thing was,
No
everyone
one was.
wasn't
That was the
doing-
funny thing.
Yeah, no one was
I
doing
was one
it.
of the few pitchers in high school cheating that I knew of.
That's
on
great.
like my pitching staffs that
You're
I was
old
on.
school. I have to pee so bad.
You have to pee, so I guess we could get into wrapping this up. You're
All right.
gonna pee, then we'll shave my butthole.
Yeah, team effort.
I
And we'll
haven't-
get the tattoo
You
tonight,
know how-
man.
Another reason, that's how I know that this whole thing, this new relationship thing's been serious, because I have been manscaping a lot.
Yeah.
More than I've ever cared to. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a funny thought. I remember the last time I went to get a physical, I had to Google, like, do you need to shave your balls before getting a physical? What is the etiquette?
Did I tell you about the last time I went? I went to go get something done at the doctor's office, and it was my first time going to this guy, and he did it was all of the testing or whatever, blood work was above the belt, and I had that. Maybe I've said this on the pod before.
Above the belt.
Where like, you know how you're supposed to check yourself once a month to make sure there's no lumps in your testicles.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's like once every 3 months. I think I find something. I spend a month in panic. I check again, find out that there's nothing there.
Oh,
so,
you do a lot of checks.
No, I don't do it as frequently as I should. And when I do, I assume that something's out of whack. I'll create something in my head. And then a month will go by where I'm in panic. I'll check again. There's nothing there. That's like the routine. Anyway, I was like, I'll just have a professional check because I'm here already. So the doctor does all the tests on me, and he washes his hands. And hello. And he does all the checking, and I'm like, hey, I got like a situation, I'm worried about down below. Can you check out for me? And
what an audience.
Yeah, we do have an audience. And he just looks at me because he was washing his hands like he just finished doing the blood work, and then I ask him to do this, and he just goes, fine, and puts on new gloves and checks me so begrudgingly. I'm like, dude, you're a doctor, you gotta.
That made me feel good knowing you didn't want to.
Yeah.
The most awkward thing about sharing these stories is like we're actually getting stared at by a child right now through the aisle.
I'm sorry.
But I will end on this another testicle story. Why not? I mean, it's been the theme.
Yeah, right. This is where we are.
When I was in high school, I thought that something was wrong down there, so like I had to go get a sonogram done.
Yeah.
So what they do is, they put the warm jelly on there, and then they rub the thing on it to see the inside.
Yeah.
And I was maybe 15, 16. A sweet Asian woman is the woman doing the test.
Yeah.
And it's quiet, as it should be. And then she just, she starts going in circles on the nuts, and she's like, so, you have any siblings? And I was like, I was 15 at the time, and I literally said, miss, this is not the time for small talk.
That's great. Hi, guys.
Hi. How are you? Well, Jack, you want to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, I got to pee so bad.
All right.
I
This
gotta
has
go check
been
myself.
another episode of In the Aisle at a undisclosed deli in New York City.
Follow it. Said
I'm Dan LaMorte.
Aisle Boys and whatnot.
You're Jack Byram.
I'm
We're
Jack
at
Byram.
Aisle Boys, In the Aisle. Listen, subscribe. We're a couple away. We just got a 1-star review, I think, which is kind of nice to get one in there.
It's a 1-star review?
No one. They didn't leave a comment, but it's just I see the 1-star on there. We're
Dude,
11 away from 250. Go leave it. Let us know about how gross this episode was.
Yeah, this will get us a couple more 1-stars. Thanks, guys.
We hope you laughed and you didn't cry. We hope you enjoyed your turkey on rye. But for now, goodbye from Deli.